Revenge is a dangerous fiend. It consumes, festers, and sometimes destroys more than just its intended target. In the case of Michael Keetley, an ice cream truck driver, it led to a tragic massacre, taking the lives of two men and changing the lives of six others forever. This is Strawberry Inc., and today we're diving into the case of Michael Keetley, how a man seeking justice for himself ended up on trial for a crime that many believe he was not even capable of committing. Before Michael Keetley had that happen to him, he was an everyday Samaritan, an ice cream truck driver who loved kids and was well known around the neighborhood. Kids and parents alike recognized him as a friendly vendor, bringing cold treats on hot Florida afternoons. He was not violent at all, just a man making a living. But all of that changed on January 21st, 2010. Keatley was ambushed and shot multiple times during a robbery, left to die. The attack shattered his life. His body was permanently damaged, his hands barely functional after multiple surgeries, his finances drained, and his mental state sharpened. He had been hospitalized at the Tampa General Hospital and was released weeks later. The police, they never caught the suspects responsible. So Keatley did what so many people in his possession have done before. He decided to take justice into his own hands. Something I've done, but got away with it. Fast forward to November 25th, 2010, Thanksgiving night. Keatley, now obsessed with finding the people who attacked him, had allegedly gathered intel. He believed the men responsible for his shooting went by the street name Creeper and were associated with a group of people at a home on Ocean Mist Court in Ruskin, Florida. That night, just before 2 a.m., a masked man in dark clothing approached a group of six men sitting outside the home. Witnesses said the man holding a firearm ordered them to the ground, demanding to know about Creeper. Before they could even process what was happening, the gunman opened fire. When the bullets stopped, all six were injured. They were taken to the Tampa General Hospital after neighbors called for emergency personnel. Then, hours later, two of those men, brothers Juan and Sergio Gitron, were pronounced dead. Four others were wounded, but they survived. If they were really the ones who robbed Michael Keetley, then they got their karma. The four others were released weeks later. Meanwhile, Juan and Sergio were cremated by the Ruskin, Florida's National Cremation and Burial Society. It is believed that their mother's home became the venue of a private committal held for them on December 11th. It is also believed that the mother has the ashes with her to this day. The shooter vanished into the night. This attack left police scrambling for answers. The survivors described their assailant as a man wearing dark clothing and speaking English, but they could not agree on his exact features. The biggest break in the case came when some of the witnesses pointed to one name, Michael Keetley. Keatley had allegedly been asking around about Creeper and had been seen driving around the area. The police arrested him that year, 2010. But here's where things get messy. Keatley had barely any function in his hands due to the injuries for his robbery. He could barely hold a cup of coffee, let alone pull a trigger multiple times and accurately execute a massacre. After having gathered evidence, Michael Keetley was tied to a criminal probe within the state of Florida. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office raided his Ruskin, Florida home and arrested him. They took him to their headquarters and shortly after booked him into the Orient Road Jail pending charges. Shortly after, he appeared before Judge Walter Heinrich at the Hillsborough County Circuit Court. This judge ordered that he remain in jail without bond. Then Assistant Florida State Attorney Christine Miller presented Keatly's criminal probe to a grand jury. The grand jury, after reviewing the state probe, went on to indict him on 6 felonies in the first degree, 2 counts of murder and 4 counts of attempted murder. After the state attorney unsealed the indictment, the charges were made official. Attorney Miller understood Michael Keetley's situation and frustration. Therefore, the prosecution would not seek the death penalty. Then Judge Manuel Lopez arraigned him on charges. He pleaded not guilty to all. At this point, he was ordered to continue remaining in custody without bond. He did not seek an insanity defense. He simply claimed to be innocent of these capital offenses. His defense team argued that the evidence was thin. There was no forensic proof tying him to the crime. No DNA, no surveillance footage. The defense was led by Keatley's public defender, Lyon Gowdy. Then another Florida state attorney, Andrew Warrant, would be appointed to prosecute from this point on. Just witness statements from a chaotic, traumatic night. Still, the prosecution pushed forward, claiming Keatley had the motive, means, and opportunity to commit this horrific crime. It took years for Keatley's case to go to trial. His first trial in 2020 ended in a hung jury, which led to Judge Christopher Sabella declaring a mistrial. Shortly after, Prosecutor Hodges announced she would retry the case with a different jury of 12 members and 2 alternates, just like the first trial. Therefore, Keatley would continue to remain in jail without bond. However, Andrew Warrant would not be the prosecutor in Michael Keetley's next trial. He went on to withdraw himself from the case, leaving another state attorney, Lindsay Hodges, to prosecute from this point on. Then Keatley would no longer be represented by Lyon Gowdy, as she became a judge in this county. Therefore, she was no longer working as an attorney. Keatley's new attorney was another public defender, Scott Swartz. In 2023, the retrial in front of another jury sealed his fate. Keatley parted ways with Swartz and chose to hire his own attorney, Jeffrey Marshall. Due to a private attorney now defending him, the current prosecutor, Lindsay Hodges, aged up and left the case to a more experienced one, Jennifer Johnson. This jury ended up finding him guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder and 4 counts of attempted murder. Therefore, he was convicted on every charge. Special Prosecutor Jennifer Johnson confirmed that the decision not to seek the death penalty would stand. Michael Keetley was not leaving jail anytime soon. It was confirmed that Keatley would be sentenced consecutively for each charge. Judge Christopher Sabella also refused to throw out the conviction nor redo the trial. About 2 months after his conviction, Judge Sabella sentenced Michael Keetley to life in prison without the possibility of parole. His defense team continues to argue that the case against him was built on unreliable witness statements and circumstantial evidence. Keatley maintains his innocence, and many still question whether he was even physically capable of committing the crime. He appealed and got another attorney to represent him next, Richard Escobar, another private one. Meanwhile, Assistant State Attorney Michael Dardia would try to have this appeal fail. After sentencing, he was processed at the Inmate Reception Center in Lake Butler and then admitted into the Columbus Annex, where he is serving his sentence to this day. On February 21st, 2025, Florida's District Court of Appeals denied Michael Keetley a new trial. The next step for him is seeing if the United States Supreme Court exonerates him or if he would have the higher court reduce his sentence. I will keep you updated with what happens. So, did Michael Keetley really commit this crime on Thanksgiving night? Or was he a broken man wrongfully accused after the justice system failed when he was the victim? Revenge is a dangerous fiend, but wrongful convictions are just as dangerous. Somewhere in between, the truth lies. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, stay curious, stay critical, stay safe. I believe in Michael Keatley's innocence. Free him. This has been Strawberry Ink, and thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your day and take care. I pray for you guys to not have to deal with what he went through.